So
it's generally, in my opinion, just good not to lie to the government.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast, Our 3 Cents. It's been a while. It feels like it's been a while. But I'm Molly.
it has for us. I'm Laura. You were next. I was just already talking.
You want to give it to me again?
I'm Molly.
I'm Bailey.
I'm Laura.
Yeah,
Yeah, it has been. The listeners won't know this. Well, they've had their own.
They've had.
They will, but by the time they hear this episode, they will have already heard an episode. But that's not how it works in real life, guys. Podcast time is different.
Podcast time is really confusing.
Time is a social construct. It's a complete circle. It's a flat circle. Something about a circle.
Listeners, you can't see my face, but this, oof. Explain either of those concepts.
We had a big pop culture event this weekend. We had
Well, yeah, but they don't have to know that.
Oh, you didn't want to talk about meeting Javid?
No, I'm just saying, like...
What did you think we were talking about?
The All-American Rejects, mostly.
The greatest band there ever has been.
Yes, Molly, I met Javid this weekend. For a total of 2 minutes, according to Molly. Laura.
It was.
2 minutes, according to Laura.
You texted me at like 44,
Mm-hmm.
and then you texted me back at 46, and y'all were away from each other at 46. And I was like...
My mom also said that was too short. She was like, why didn't they say and talk to you? And I was
Well,
like,
apparently
oh.
I didn't communicate that was what I was looking for, that I was looking for y'all. He thought, I don't know what he thought I was doing.
Were you leaving?
Yes.
No, Javid was most definitely leading her. He was dragging her along.
Well, at that moment, he was leading because I don't know what I told. I think he thought we were looking for my friends, Jordan and Mackenzie. And so I was like, they said they were right here, but they're not here. And Bailey was talking. I tried calling Bailey, and she made it sound like she was
in on that conversation.
She made it sound like she was under the State Theater sign, which was all the way across where I was standing.
Right.
And so I was like, we're not going over there again. Because we had just come back from there.
Remember when Molly got really mad at me because I was talking to her, but I couldn't hear a word she was saying, and she was like, I can hear you just fine. Sounds like you couldn't hear me just fine.
I could hear you almost just fine.
Almost.
But, yes, so Javid was like, all right, well, let's go find my friends. And I was like, okay, so he's like guiding me through the crowd. And then William pops out. Did he grab me, or did he just, like, yell my name?
Did he touch her?
I didn't actually see any of this. I was looking, like, in a different direction.
It was smart of him to, like, be looking in that direction because I never would have seen y'all. I must have walked right past y'all trying to find y'all. But I think there were way more people because, like, when William stopped me, it was just y'all. And I was like, how did I pass right by them? But, yeah, and Javid tried to keep going. We were having, like, a tug-of-war in the middle of the sidewalk.
What happened in the last 3 weeks? 2 weeks.
I met Javid, and we joked about weed, and that was it.
I didn't meet Javid. I went to Dallas to a concert.
You saw Florence, and you cried.
I cried. I did. I went to a Florence and the Machine concert. I am a fan. I have 2 of her records on vinyl, but
I think that's just because you like vinyl.
She's not like somebody that I'm like in the car, or she's like a very like I'm gonna study or I'm gonna relax to me singer, artist, what have you. And so she's never somebody that I like actively pursue through my playlist or anything. And so going, it was just kind of like my friends were going. I wanted something to do while Sam was out of town. And so I went. And then at the concert, it was one of the best concerts I've ever been to. She's beautiful and amazing and like just spoke so eloquently about just all sorts of things. And her music is amazing. And I learned a lot of new songs that I really do like now. And it was just such a great atmosphere. There were so many different types of people, and everybody loved everybody.
You were on the lawn.
Yeah, we were on the lawn, or she's on the lawn.
It was everybody on drugs?
It was just so nice. We did, I mean, the whole not the whole concert, but there was, I mean, during the concert, there was just this obvious smell of weed, but, and there was, like, obvious drunk people, but nobody got belligerent, nobody got, like, nasty, nobody was fighting or anything. It was just
Not at a Florence and the Machine concert.
It was just one of the best concerts. We walked in, and I looked over, and we were one of the, like, first 10 people on the lawn, and I look over, and, like, I guess 2 groups away from us, there was a guy wearing a red hat, and I feel like in this country right now, if you see you see that red hat, you know what hat you're looking at, and I was like, that's really surprising to be at this concert.
Was it a Trump hat, though?
Well, so I was like, and it had the writing on it, and I was like, and it was like 4 guys, and I was like, I just can't, you don't look like, and I was like, don't judge, and so we just sat there, and it was like, whatever. And at one point, he walked close enough to us, and it said, make crawfish $1.07. And it was like $1.07 a pound again. And it was like, oh my God, thank you. It was just so funny. Because I think so many people had looked at him and been like,
what are you doing?
What are you like this? Because, I mean, she had a whole monologue about today's, like, climate in this country and around the world and stuff, and it was very moving and whatever, but I was just like, not the place I expected to see that bold statement for this this place, but, like, you do you. And then it said that, and I was like, wow, that was good. Thank you, sir. Thank you. But yeah, it was fun. I did cry.
That's good.
But I had also cried, like, last week was a whole... Like, if Laura needed to be in if Laura did know she needed to be in therapy, she does now.
Was last week when you told us that you cried 3 times one day?
Yeah. That was Thursday or Friday.
I can't imagine crying that much.
Oh, it's fine.
Like in a day. Like if I cry that much in a week, I'm like, and if it's not like consecutive.
Cries.
If I cry that much in a year.
Yeah. Seriously,
like ugh.
I wonder how many times I've cried this year. I think, honestly, like 2 times.
I hate you. There is no telling. Excuse me, I have ice in my mouth. There's no telling how many times I've cried this year. Between my last semester in school, graduating, not having a job, getting a job, and then just like
that kind of brings us to today, yeah.
Huh?
That brings us to today.
Yeah. That's just, well, Friday? Either Thursday or Friday, my car died twice.
Oh my God.
Was that when the Russian man was there? The Russian man, he was like, is there a bridge?
Oh my God, the Russian man with the bridge.
Russian man.
Forgot did I tell him? I did. He was very upset. Yeah, my car died twice after the Russian man. I had to jump my car off with my boss's car, which is like a giant Suburban. And her battery was on the opposite side that my battery was, and I was parked into their curb, and it was just a whole lot, and there was lots of... You said, oh my God, like you had something to say.
Yes, her car's broken, and she wants
that wasn't what I was going to say. I keep forgetting to call my grandmother and tell her I'm sorry I forgot her birthday that was on Thursday.
You forgot your birthday? Do it right now.
Do it now before you forget.
Yes. I'll call her tomorrow. She'll be fine.
No, you won't.
No, that's even later.
She forgot my birthday. She called me 2 days later.
Well, she's old.
She's a grandma. They don't do that. She hates her.
No, my grandmother loves me. As long as she meets Javid next weekend, she'll be happy.
Call your grandma now.
That's all she wants to do. She just
is she
every
coming
time
to you, or are you going to her?
I'm going to her. Every time she calls me, she like asks me when I'm coming home and if I'll have time to go see her and bring Javid with me.
That's so sweet.
Liz meeting my grandparents.
No, it's her being nosy.
Other side of the family too.
What's it like liking your grandparents?
Great.
Must be nice.
But yeah, my car almost died, like, for reals this weekend. I'm not fully convinced that it's still not about to die, because it takes like
neither am I.
It takes like
I'm convinced you're buying a new car within the next month or so.
It takes like a hot second to turn on. Which makes me very nervous.
You can go, does Atlanta have AutoZones?
Yeah, I think so.
You can go get your battery, alternator, starter, and a couple other things tested for free.
I just
Okay, but to be fair, when I did that, that's what killed my car battery that day.
Really?
Sam said that either you were supposed to turn it on when they tested, and we didn't have it on, or you're not supposed to have it on when they tested, and I did. He was like, the dumb lady. And I was like, sure, Sam.
I just like...
I trust you implicitly in all car things.
Same.
I just do not want it to die in Atlanta because I don't want to get a car in Atlanta. Just expensive. Georgia's really expensive. Well, my coworker who's from Alabama still has all his Alabama stuff, and he's been working there for 4 years.
That is
this whole company
definitely
is
not
just
good. Yeah. I'm trying to transition to our episode topics.
Which is...
Throw me a bone.
Job hunting.
There we go.
Woo!
By the time you hear this, I will either be unemployed or very soonly unemployed. I have to job hunt soon, which is something...
Like now.
Now.
Right
This second. I don't need to be on this podcast. I did a little after graduation and kind of have done on and off since then while employed to not much luck because I don't know how to job hunt.
How do we want to formulate this? Like, do we want to answer a question? Do we want to give advice?
Yeah, I want to ask a question. How do you job hunt and get a job?
That's so hard.
You're the
It's
only one that
stressful.
successfully did. You're the only one that's successfully done this, so we're all going to be looking at you.
I applied to the first job that seemed like it fit me to the T.
Never mind, don't ask Molly.
Let her tell her perfect job story.
5 people sent me the job application or whatever and was like, you should apply for this job. And so I did. And I thank my lucky stars every single day that I got that job because if not, I would be in Jackson, Mississippi right now.
You know, they don't say Atlanta, Georgia enough on the phone.
But
They don't.
I like, it is like, for me at least, it was like all about what you're passionate about because once you get that interview, you convey that passion and they have
Yes, and this is my problem. I have a lot of passion for a lot of jobs I'm not getting, and I can't make it to the interview stage. Is it the robots are keeping my resume out? Do I need to reach out to recruiters? Because that's what I'm about to start doing is talking to random people and saying, hey, I like your company. Can I talk to you about a few things? Will you like me and give me a job?
I have some insights. Not that they've gotten me anywhere. But a lot of smart people have told me. A lot of smart people that have gotten places have told me. So I'm just going to tell you. I took a lot of classes. Well, not a lot, but I took 3, I think, in college about job training and like resume building and professional skill development. And like... tips and tricks that they said were like when you input your application into an automated whatever, like you're not emailing somebody.
Yeah.
When you put it into whatever.
Like when you just apply online, which is what I've been doing up until this point.
Go read the job description and then within your resume
put
at
those
the bottom
keywords
in white. So you don't have to like actually utilize them. If it's like too much, you put them in white around it. And the automation picks it up and you go through.
That's super cheating.
But is it?
What if someone knows that trick and they like highlight your resume and they're like, oh honey, no.
You're not gonna get it anyways if you don't have it. So then
That's true.
You never know. It's either like you didn't get it because you didn't put them on there, you didn't get it because they found it. They're not gonna contact you and be like,
you lied.
Look at this.
What is this?
That's so sneaky.
And always submit a cover letter, whether they ask for it or not.
Always submit a cover letter.
Do you change it every
yes.
time, specifically for the job? Okay.
Yes.
How are your references?
I don't think anyone's reached out to them.
How many do you have them? Where are they from?
I mean, I don't send references because I don't think you're supposed to.
What if they ask for them?
If they ask for them, I would. I've never had anybody ask.
Oh.
Yeah. When I graduated, I asked a few college professors, and then I have my bosses now. So.
Okay, well, as long as you have them.
Like, I'm talking, I apply online, and at best, I'm getting an email 2 months later, I didn't get this job. If I even hear at all.
Well, see that I'm going through that right now because I applied for a job last a couple weeks ago, and I got called rather quickly about it. Went in for the first round of interviews. It was great. I thought it went really well, and she said, okay, well, we'll be doing second round interviews next week. I'll give you a call to set up a time. And I said, fabulous. Came back in for the second interview, met another girl who works at their parent company in Memphis, talked to her for a bit, much longer interview, got a tour of the space, met everybody that works there, thought I had a great connection, said she was going to contact me by the end of last week, and still haven't been contacted. My mom told me to contact them and, like, just ask, and I was super uncomfortable about it anyways, and the receptionist said she wasn't there.
Oh, you did tell me that.
And then I still haven't been called back, so it's like...
Yeah.
Well, and they took the job off of the website, so I think at this point it's either been filled and they're not going to call me, or they just took it off because they are going to hire. Because I know, well, she told me that there was me and one other person in the running. So it's like, are they still deciding between us two?
Right.
Was it the other person and I'm just not going to get a call? It's rather stressful.
I agree.
Are y'all on, like, job websites or whatever?
Like LinkedIn? Of course I'm on LinkedIn.
No. I was talking about, like, the Monster or whatever you want to call them.
Yeah.
Indeed.
I mean, I don't have, like, do you mean, like, do I have an account there?
Sure.
Or do I look for jobs there?
I don't know. What's the difference?
Do you get emails from them?
Why do you, I don't.
Well,
I just will search and
after I graduated, I got back on Indeed because I was on Indeed throughout college, just looking for like part-time jobs.
Yeah,
and I would never really take one because I really didn't want a job in college. So I never really applied. But when I got out of college, I started using Indeed again, and it was like good. And I got a lot of interviews through Indeed, and there's a couple other things, but they were all a lot of the times like shit jobs, like.
That's what, like, either way random jobs that don't relate or just, like, kind of, like, bad jobs.
Yeah, like, I would send mass applications a lot through Indeed.
Yeah.
And I would get back, and it would sound like a great thing, and then I would go to the interview, and I'm like, oh, this is the pyramid scheme.
Yes.
Fabulous. I've come all this way to talk to you. Okay. Now, I think I would love to get a new job.
Get me a job.
And also Bailey a job. I would love to get Bailey a job. I would love to get a new job. But I'm not at where Bailey is in the need of a job department.
This is true. Let's focus on urgency and help me. Let's talk about me.
I honestly... Didn't you say your boss had connections to get you other jobs?
I mean, he says he knows a lot of people.
I mean, your best bet, the jobs you want to work require a lot of experience, yes?
Well,
not technically.
Not really, because I'm looking for, like, entry-level entry-level roles.
Well, and
like,
lows.
Production and lows.
But those still require you working on, like, you having some sort of, like, internship experience, right? I mean...
Which brings us back to the big
experience
question.
Is a big deal.
You need experience to get a job, but you need a job to get experience. So how do you break the cycle?
So I don't know.
Well, that's where connections come in. That's where you have to, like, it sucks, but, like, you either have to be, like, really good on paper to get, past the robots or whatever to the interview, or you have to have the experience.
Well, there's, like, experience is a big thing, and being good on paper is a big thing, and having things that make you seem like knowing how to market yourself to the job and bringing new, like, qualifications and new skills to the job. Like, they're gonna have people who had your major. They're gonna have people who had this, that, and the other, and have done and are adequate in all of these programs, or adequate in other things. Like, so to add something else, like, that's what you have to bring. You have to bring, like, something else and show on your resume and your cover letter what you can bring to the table.
I am so nice. I am so passionate.
About what?
I'm good at learning.
Because, like, I did hear a couple times you have to, like, be specific enough with your passions that you, like, if you want to be a writer, what do you want to write about? Not just writing. Like, get specific. Do you want to be fiction? Do you want to be fiction fantasy? Do you, like, get as specific as you can without alienating yourself into niche. Like, don't go niche.
Right.
But be specific.
Yeah.
So, like, don't cater to the female, male, 18 to 65, all of the USA population. Cater to specific markets and demographics of people to where you have a specialized skill set that you've honed, so you are better at that skill set than somebody else.
Yeah.
And as long as you can say, well, I'm better than this person.
That sounds smart.
That makes you different. And connections matter.
Yeah.
But in our area and with our background, we don't have many. And especially without having done an internship or having a job that was within the industry. What I think is good for you, though, is that you are willing to move. Maybe not make the big move, but moving to somewhere. Well, even making the big move is kind of like, I made it, and there's like a handful of people that say, I did it.
Yeah.
I made it. I struggled for a few years, and then it paid off. But then there's hundreds of people who did the exact same thing, and it didn't pay off. And so being able to say, well, I'm willing to move to like an Austin or an Atlanta or like a smaller place in the grand scheme of things, it's not New York or California, but have parts of the industry that you're interested in, that's good. Because at least you're not stuck in this area trying to find a job in an industry that's really not prominent in our area.
You'll find a local... We're talking about, like, television production, to be
tell
specific.
the audience what your interests are. Like, what would your...
Right now, I would love to work in TV. The types of roles I am looking for would be, like, a production assistant, which would be kind of just a general helping on any kind of part of production. It's kind of a very general kind of bounce around, I think. Or a writing or editorial assistant. So that would be like helping in a writer's room or like just assisting some kinds of writers or helping in the like video editing part.
Like, have you looked up the jobs that you want, looked at the people that have them, and then looked up their
like
background?
How they started? Yeah, I've done that a few times.
Like, I mean, even lower level. Like, jobs that you want now.
Yeah.
Have you looked who in this area or who in a certain area has that job to see where they went to school, what they majored in, what they did before that?
I guess that's something I could do more, yeah. I feel like I get so, not just like distracted and overwhelmed job hunting, but you're like, hey, have you looked at like lower level people and see what their backgrounds are? And I was like, yeah, I kind of do that, but I need to do that more. And like, I need to talk to recruiters and be just like finding and applying to jobs in general and following up, say like, hey, like there's just so much you have to do.
Applying to jobs is like strenuous.
Yeah.
And like that sounds so petty, and it's like I feel like it's a very privileged thing to say.
Yeah, like a first world problem.
Very like when Sam was applying to all of his jobs and he spent all that time applying, it was like if he could sit down and apply to like a certain number every night, we were happy. And it took him all night to do. And
that's when you asked me about cover letters, I'm like, yeah, I write one for every job. I have a basic template where I usually, if they're kind of similar jobs, I kind of write similar things, but I do change them and make them new cover letters. So it's like even that just takes a while. It takes time.
You're writing a paper-ish.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, how do you organize your job hunt?
I guess I'm not an organized person, so I guess what I would do is get a notebook and like almost like outline.
Yeah, like make a game plan.
Yeah, like if you're applying for like a certain type of job, write that job title down, and then list all the things you need to do for that type of job, or like that kind of website. I don't know, because like those networks, like TBS, whatever buildings here. Turner Broadcasting building. That website is the hardest thing to navigate.
Oh, really?
For me, it was. I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. It like took me forever.
Just because I know I've navigated it many a time, so I know I've used it.
Do you apply to anything?
Not recently. There haven't been any, but I think I have before.
I would just outline.
I think the simplest thing would be to, like what Molly was saying, get on Monster or Indeed. And there's another one that I was on.
ZipRecruiter? Did you like that?
Maybe
I know you talked about it, but I can't remember if you liked it.
That might be what it was then.
Yeah. ZipRecruiter, y'all sponsor podcasts. Hit us up.
Girl, we need you. In whatever way, just go through and like, I would, for most of those, you can save. And on LinkedIn also, you can save your jobs.
Yes, I do that on LinkedIn a lot.
And go through and like, I like the feeling of writing things. So then I would make a list of like the jobs that I was applying to and then go on and look at those descriptions and see. And if it's like, if you can read a description, skim it or whatever, and it fits everything pretty much, and you can like speed apply or whatever, like LinkedIn
like a quick apply or
do that. Go ahead and check it. Say, okay, I've already done that. And then if there are like more that like you need experience or whatever, maybe go through and see if so, because like on LinkedIn you can have like your connections work here, an MSU grad works here or something, and like go see if you can reach out to one of them and be like, hey, what do you do? And then like for a recruiter, and just like structure it like that, like I'm gonna do that and apply to things that I don't need help with then, and then on those more invested ones, look and see if you have any connections of any kind, or if you can just talk to somebody, not even a recruiter, just email and be like, hey, I've been looking at this job thing, I'm for this, I do this, I'm this qualified for this reason, blah blah blah. Send. The next step would be recruitment officers and just going online and finding them. And I would find more than one for every company just to better your odds, and like don't structure it as like a I need your help. Right. Structure it as a I have
I need your help, but I don't want to use you to get a job. Like, don't.
Yeah, like, can you explain what you do? I'm currently looking for a job. I have this experience. This is the kind of job I'm looking for. Like, let them help you and make them think that it's your, because that's their job. Right. So, like, make them think that it's their idea type of thing. Like, structure it to where it's like, you're the one that wanted this. I just came to you to see what it was all about type of thing. Yeah. I do that for however many places you want to, and just to see what happens. And then, I don't know, just like, I don't know, it all sucks. It's all the worst.
And it just takes so long. That's what I was thinking too. When I first got this job, it was about a month and a half after I graduated. Which, like, that really isn't a long time of looking for jobs before I took this one.
But this isn't a job you wanted.
Right. This is a job I got because my dad knows the second boss, the vice president, is what he is. If I wanted to be in this industry, it would be a really good job, a really good, like, starter job, but it's just not what I wanted, so I wasn't really happy in it. But, like I was saying, that's not a long time to job hunt. At least now I have some money, like, saved up for a little while. Yeah. I can say, okay, I can spend all day looking for jobs and, like, not have paying for things super, like, I've got that covered for a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to get a job hunt notebook and then
oh my God!
Fill it up and share it.
And get a job on. I love a stationery store. Yes, I like options.
Are there any like job hunting aspects we've left off? Because like we haven't touched on like interviews or anything.
That's not about job hunting,
right? Hunting. I don't want to get on that. I just want to do the basic hunting. Like, have we hit all of that?
I think it's such a vast topic.
Yeah, there's so much to do.
Yeah.
There's so many jobs, and yet
for you, I think you either need to find some kind of experience, whether it's paid or not, in the field that you want to do.
Well, I will say, I don't think you should do anything unpaid. At this point in your life.
Let's say at this point, I don't know if I can.
If you had been in college and doing an unpaid internship in the summer, that would be different. But now, especially if you move,
right,
and honestly, especially with the parents you have, you don't have the support that you would need to do an unpaid anything. But if you move and you have other expenses, there's no, and like, honestly,
I ain't no Richie Rich.
Saying as a person who has a 4-year degree from a reputable college that you're okay, and I know that there's like a bunch of arguments and debate on whether the term too good should be respected or not, but at some point you can't just take an unpaid internship just because you need the experience, because you can't. That would be like Bailey taking an unpaid internship and getting a job, a minimum wage job, just to make rent.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think I could do unpaid without having like another job.
Well, your other option is to again find another job just to pay the bills while looking for a job and what you really want to do, because the job you really want to do is hard to come by, or at least it's hard to get your foot in the door. So I really think it's going to be hard to do that. I mean, you have a good bit of experience. It's small, but I mean, it is experience, better than what I have.
I wouldn't say that. You got a good job that you liked instantly out of college and just got a promotion recently.
But I got incredibly lucky. Like, I couldn't give anybody, like, legit
advice on how to repeat you.
Exactly, yeah. How to get your dream job.
Yeah. Like, I guess the biggest thing is that, like, like I said, I don't think you should take it unpaid, but, like, taking a really, really shitty but in the industry paid job is different. Like, a couple of the girls that I listen to on podcasts are within the industry, and they talk about things that they did, and like, it sounds horrible, but now they're professionals.
Right.
And it was like, yeah, but you got to, and that's how you make connections. Like, you get a lower level position, you work really fucking hard.
Yeah.
You show people higher up than you that you're willing to put in the work and the time and the effort, and you're also honing in your experiences and your skill set within that. So you're not just doing you're working hard, you're not just doing your job, you're also learning different skills and different marketing techniques and working with different people and doing all this stuff that make you stand out later, but you have your foot in the door within at least the industry. Like, we were talking, one of our friends has a job at a local news broadcast company, and does she love her job? No, but at least she's in the industry and does things with people who could get her somewhere if she needed it. She was working the worst shift, all hours, cold, bad parts of Memphis, doing all this awful stuff, but then they promoted her within the year, and now she's doing a really good shift, and she still hates it because it's not what she wants to do, but if it had been something she wanted to do and she was working those, it would have fucking sucked, but she would have done it and gotten somewhere, and then she would have been in this position now if she actually liked the industry that she enjoyed. I would rather work somewhere and get paid for doing something that I hate than getting a low-level internship that's unpaid, pretty much probably hating it still, and not getting paid for it.
Well, I did the first one, so let's see how that turns out.
Yay!
But Molly, do you want to take us out?
Yes. Thanks for listening to this episode. It was a wild one, behind the scenes. But
don't tell them
that. You can find us on Twitter at our3 the number, yes? Or is it the word? Our3 the number since pod. If you want to email us questions, suggestions, comments, concerns, help Bailey out with job hunting.
If you got connections anywhere, you want to let Bailey know?
Yeah.
Hey, I'm in the marketing field, and I'm also looking.
But yeah, drop us an email, slide up into our DMs.
I thought you were going to say drop us a line.
You can also
don't slide in our DMs in the traditional sense. Molly, we're 3 women. We don't know if
I don't need that DM.
We don't know how that'll translate to the internet.
You can find our podcasts on whatever listening device you're listening to right now, whether that's iTunes, SoundCloud, or YouTube.
I love that phrasing because it's like if you found us already, you know how to find us again.
Keep doing
so
what
just like
exactly.
Yeah, you did it. Like
we'll be here.
Congrats.
We'll be here again. Maybe not next week, but we will come back.
Tell your friends, Molly. Tell them to tell their friends.
Yes, tell your friends. Yes. I bring it up way too much from people who I don't think are listening to me, and then they end up listening and they go listen to the podcast.
And that's the best.
Yeah, that is always exciting.
I get really uncomfortable when somebody texts me and says, "Oh, hey, I liked the podcast," and I say, "I haven't talked to you in 6 years. Stop listening."
It terrifies me when people bring up inside jokes that are like purely on the podcast, and I'm like,
that happens
all the time.
That's amazing.
It happens all the time to me. They'll come up to me and they'll be like, so Molly, who's Javid? Or they'll say something like the mayonnaise ice cream thing. They're like, is that a real thing? And I'm like, oh my gosh. Like just like things that like you purely like would have to listen to the podcast
to know what we're talking about.
I was gonna say thanks to Kevin MacLeod for the song Digital Lemonade, our intro and outro music. Now we are out of here. I am Molly.
I'm Laura. Happy
I'm
spoopy
Bailey.
season. No, happy spoopy season. I wanted to say it all episode. October 2nd. It's officially spoopy season.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Bye.